Hello everyone, I'm Tom Colohue and this is Spoiler Warning, where we talk wrestling news and wrestling exclusive details. We'll be talking quite a lot about Seth Rollins tonight, particularly as regards Seth Rollins' role as a fighting champion, Breakker versus Rollins. We're also talking CM Punk taking over and his involvement in booking in AEW, Logan Paul's incoming return, the situation with Roman Reigns and the many belts that he carries. We're also going to be talking a little bit more about Drew McIntyre and Gable Steveson. So quite a lot to cover today as per usual. I want to say a huge thank you to all of you for already joining us. Dark Society, Daz, Jordan, Airwolf, Leon, BDC, thank you kindly for continuing in your role as channel subscriber. Eric, thank you for joining us. Spider Boss, Bailey as well. Welcome everybody to the show. Richard, Daniela, hello, welcome everyone, welcome. So our first piece of news will be as regards the situation with Seth Rollins and the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I can see Spider-Boss already asking a question about this, and this is going to be my very top piece of information, because there is a reason that Seth Rollins is being positioned, as you might expect, as a fighting champion. Fighting champions tend to have a lot of open challenges. They tend to go from show to show, and in many ways that is the intention with Seth Rollins. I apologise if you can hear a dog screaming in the background. Now, still going. Anyway, I apologise if you can hear that. But with the situation with an open challenge, you do tend to run through the challenges quite quickly. With the amount of factions that the WWE has, this offers a lot of opportunities. Dominic Mysterio, Damian Priest, etc. versus Seth Rollins en route to Finn Balor, which I previously reported. What it does mean is that you get a lot more challenges and a lot more defences, meaning that Seth Rollins has the option, or at least the opportunity, to become much more of a defensive champion than Roman Reigns has been, and this is something that Seth Rollins is looking to do, to change the way the championship is looked at by being able to say, I defended my championship more often than Roman did. It would mean he could do that in less than a year. There is a concern, as Spider-Boss has actually already mentioned, that if you defend the championship too often you will run out of challenges, but that is not the case at the moment with the amount of challenges available on Monday Night Raw, and it does suggest that Seth Rollins will not be the World Heavyweight Champion for a particularly long amount of time. Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns is endgame content, will not be for the Undisputed Universal Championship, but maybe for the World Heavyweight Championship at some point in the future. This is one of the reasons Seth Rollins is looking to get a leg up on the competition, but as I've mentioned previously, I don't personally think Seth Rollins is going to hold this championship for all that long, which does suggest to me that they're trying to get as much bang for their buck as they possibly can in the meantime. Eric says, why does Roman still have the Universal and WWE title? I've got a point of news on that one. I've already mentioned that the WWE and Universal Championships are both still very much in existence, but will not be upon Roman Reigns losing the championship. Whoever he may lose the championship to, the Universal Championship looks set to retire with him. That said, at the moment, because he's held the Universal Championship for longer, they are focusing on the Universal Championship record rather than the WWE Championship record. I did report this, and then I believe it was a week later, it popped up on Fightful Select behind the paywall. Roman Reigns is making a point of displaying all three championships because he wants to. Because the man's got three belts, he wants to celebrate that fact, and it's very good marketing to be someone with literally 3 world championships in your possession. Doesn't that feel like a tribal chief? Jermaine says, how was your weekend? Did you do anything exciting this time? Yes, I did. I was actually in Manchester for a stag do. Would have been lovely, apart from the fact that, most of us are approaching 40, and couldn't really get out there and play really intense games and go from pub to pub. So we just sort of drank cocktails and shot things. Like in a game. Which was pretty sweet. I'm not a big drinker, so I actually much preferred the chilled out version that we had to what I'd sort of made it up to be in my mind. And had a really great weekend. Thanks very much for checking in on that one, Jermaine. Vegeta says, hi Tom. Hello. Late talk as well, Raymond. So many people. Airwolf says, when's Randy coming back? My recent video, and by recent I mean in February, video on Randy Orton is still the most accurate information you will find anywhere. Wiggly says, yo, 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 yo. Spider-Boss says Finn Balor didn't look good in his segment with Seth Rollins last Monday. Seth Rollins and Finn Balor isn't a feud that needs anyone to look good because the match is going to look good. We do currently have 47 viewers and only the 18 likes. Please do remember as you join the chat to give us a thumbs up as we continue to work through our news. Wiggly says, I saw Asuka had to return home unexpectedly and urgently hope all is okay for Asuka. Who do you see that from, Wiggly? I'm not aware of that myself, but I may have missed a tweet. Kevin says open challenge or good storyline. An open challenge in general is typically a good storyline. John Cena infamously with the US Championship, but Drew McIntyre also opened his account in the same way. Hello Khalid, welcome to the show. Spider-Boss suggests that Bianca's going to be a heel soon. Khalid's excited for Money in the Bank because it's going to be the Usos versus Roman and Solo. That is certainly where it seems to be headed. Steve, welcome, is excited that Moose signed a new contract. Doing well, thank you, Dylan. Doing well. Sean says, hello, Tom. Any truth to the rumours of Carlito signing with WWE? Lots of rumours. I don't know Carlito. I cannot say at this point in time. Moxie says, yo, Tom. Hey, Moxie. And then says, everyone should take time to give the stream a like. Thank you very kindly, Zane. Adam says, hey, Tom, any update on budget cuts? The most information you'll find as regards potential budget cuts is right here on the Tom Colohue channel. So if you've not already done so, please do check out the videos that I've already made on those. That is the most up-to-date information that you will find. Razar says, who would be a good challenger for Seth at SummerSlam? I can't really think of anyone. There is a number of different people who could be in that role. Drew McIntyre is a heel, I've already mentioned, as a potential opponent. I think Gunter certainly could be up there. I think Cody Rhodes could certainly be worth mentioning, if not for the fact that he'll be wrestling Brock Lesnar one more time, as originally reported once again on this channel. So there are people maybe a little bit further down the card who could be the one. I'd like to give it to Dominic, personally. Doing well, thank you, Adam. Doing well. Richard says, can't see Seth being champion after Survivor Series. Who do you want as the next champion, Tom? Gunter, no question. Dad says, who do you think will accept Seth's challenge tonight? I think it will be, and let's go on to our next piece of news, Bron Breakker. And I don't necessarily think it's going to be a good moment for either man. I don't think we're going to see a match. Bron Breakker is currently being used, and Seth Rollins is currently being used to advertise the potential growth of NXT. Thank you very much, Horsey. Welcome to the show, and thank you for renewing for an 8th month. You've been here a while now. You're going to be an old hand in no time. As regards Bron Breakker, the idea is that it will help to advertise NXT as they're approaching new TV right deals and they want to get as much viewership as possible and plug the show as much as possible so they get as much money as possible. This also ties in to the talk of budget cuts. Ken says he did not get drunk and do something stupid. No, mate, I'm nearly 35. It's not for me. I was never a big drinker anyway. Doing very well, thank you, Peter. Welcome to the show. Thank you for that, Wiggly. Eric says, how's the girlfriend and family? Partner and family doing absolutely great. Absolutely great. Raymond says, with Logan Paul being on Raw tonight, will he somehow work his way into Money in the Bank? It's not an impossibility, but I don't necessarily think so. I think the plan for Logan Paul is essentially quite basic. I think they're kicking off for SummerSlam. And yes, I have something to mention for that. I think at this point, the presence of Logan Paul is kicking off something bigger for SummerSlam, working with someone relatively high up on the card because ultimately he's Logan Paul. This would be a good opportunity to give back. It would be a good opportunity maybe to wrestle someone like Edge. But I think there's a strong possibility that while we have the aforementioned option of John Cena versus Logan Paul, I do think there's a lot of other options well worth mentioning. Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul could be fun, but I also feel Logan Paul could give a lot, and I mean a lot right now, to someone slightly lower down the card, Ricochet. Moxley says, after watching SmackDown, I think Jey Uso should be the guy to dethrone Roman. The Bloodline story is built around Jey beating Roman Reigns at the end. I've been mentioning a few times, and I've reported it a few times, the entire Bloodline story is Roman versus Jey. Moxley says, WWE announced Roman and Solo versus Usos what a match it will be. I didn't know they'd already announced it. Thank you for clarifying. Wiggly says, I'm assuming Io will turn on Bayley. I would go the other way. Spider-Boss says, nice to see how CM Punk took shots against the wrestling media. Yeah, he doesn't like it. Bayley says, what's the backstory behind Natalia getting squashed again by Rhea Ripley on Monday Night Raw? People are getting really wound up about, Rhea Ripley doesn't defend enough. Let's put her in against someone who's available, who's not going to be a big match in future. Here we are. Wiggly says, Inside the Ropes did a post asking readers to respond with, what's the worst thing Vince McMahon has ever done? Where to begin? Should have posted that video in response that I've already made on this exact subject. Hector says, Happy Monday, Tom. It's been a bit, but what's your thoughts on all the new titles? Do they get the Tom seal of approval or no? Not really. I think they're okay. I think the World Heavyweight Championship is at least different. I'm waiting for the new Tag Team Championships, personally. Airwolf says, are WWE interested in Hook? Not really. Daniela says, on the 9th of June episode of SmackDown, there was a video package hyping Lashley, then nothing this past Friday. What's going on with Lashley? They're currently negotiating an extension to his contract. He's expected to return soon. He's on creative hiatus because they don't have a storyline planned for him. Hogan says the Rollins Open Challenge isn't listed on the WWE site's Raw preview. No image preview on their Twitter. No tweet from Rollins today. Anything to this? They haven't formally announced it. I don't necessarily believe that they're guaranteed it's going ahead, but those are the rumours in spoilers that have been released. Horsey says, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Mad few days, but back to normal now. I know the feeling, mate. I know the feeling. I'm off again tomorrow on my travels, but not for long. I'll still be here on Friday. Eric says, who do you think wins the last spot tonight? Not sure, but Logan Paul would certainly be an option. After all, he is a flippy and a flyy, and it would be a good way to make that match with Ricochet happen. Sean says, have you heard what the undisclosed reasons is that Meltzer said that Saraya isn't around within AEW right now? No, but we were hearing from Fightful Select that Saraya was going to be facing off against Mercedes Money, so that certainly doesn't seem like it's going to be happening. Richard Smith says, Gunter versus Seth, that'll be amazing. Yes, it will. And Kevin says, I'm more interested in Bron Breakker versus Seth over Seth versus Finn. And you will get both, which is a pretty good place to be. Peter says, I'm here. Welcome, mate. Just lurking as editing a YouTube video. Well, trying. I get that. I need more time to edit some videos and put some stuff together. One video I'm going to be working on, you may have seen it on my Twitter. I'm looking at putting together a video about a booking off, which essentially what I'm referring to that as is a video comparing the booking styles and booking successes of Triple H versus Vince McMahon. I put a tweet out in the new format that I'm using to see if I can up the engagement on Twitter. For those who don't know, Twitter has made some serious changes to the algorithm recently in the attempt to try and compete with YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram in an attempt to try and make it one of the big four. So far, it has not been particularly successful in that regard, and it shows. That said, I did get 3,000 views in the tweet in question. I'm going to post it in here so that you guys can see it. But what I'm looking for is suggestions of good and bad from both Vince McMahon over the last, say, 5 years and Triple H, including his time in NXT as well. So please do consider helping me out there as I look to make a video on this exact subject. Hello, Noob. Hello, Joe, as well. Peter says, no one can beat Roman Reigns. Someone will. Adam says, in your opinion, could someone like a Karrion Kross or Dexter Lumis get cut? I'm not going to comment on the potential of people being fired and losing their jobs. You have to be better than that. Come on, you know this. You know I definitely will never have that conversation. You, of all people, know that I won't have that conversation because you keep asking that question. Spiderball says, it's difficult for me to understand NXT's booking. Gigi Dolan went from competing for the NXT Women's title to doing nothing. Yeah, that happens. That does happen. Just catching up here. Peter says, smash them likes, people, or I need to get the tables out. KJ is here saying, what's up, Tom? He's also excited for Logan Paul versus Ricochet. Kermit suggests Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul running back for SummerSlam. That seems unlikely, but after all, we haven't had anything formal yet. Zane, I believe, copies a WrestleTalk title. Sai says, hey Tom and all, hope you're good. All is well with the world. Thank you for the update there, Sai. Hassan says, how's your weekend on Father's Day? Weekend was great. Father's Day means nothing to me. My father was the definition of a deadbeat, and I will never receive a Father's Day card or anything like that. So, Marcel says, hi Tom, how are you? Doing okay. Wrestler Fan says, how likely is it that John Cena will wrestle at SummerSlam? Moderately. Richard says, let's hope Rhea and Natalya will be a good match. They are very capable wrestlers, and I don't think it's impossible they'll put on a good show. Kevin says, women's division is lacking an interesting and good storyline. I agree. And Ken says, I'm a Natalya fan. I hope WWE give Natalya a big push. They will not be doing so. Vegeta says, we've seen stories they want Hook. I haven't. Coot43 says, do you see Austin Theory defending on Money in the Bank? I think it's certainly a possibility, but he would need people to work against. Maybe Logan Paul. Richard says, will Becky cause Trish's match tonight against Raquel? Maybe, but that would be very heelish. Peter says, if Cody Rhodes was able to defeat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39, where do you go from there? To different opponents. Michael says, Lashley returned at a house show beating Karrion Kross. Everyone beats Karrion Kross. Not special. Daniela says, Ricochet versus Logan Paul will be a banging match. Ricochet better win. If it happens, that's a possibility. Mark says, sorry I'm late, just going to catch up now. By all means, Mark, welcome to the show. Will says, it's funny how people are trying to report about Drew coming back, but you've been on this for months. Even the first to say his deal being up next year. That's why we trust you. I try my best, Will. I try my best. Not often celebrated for the reports that I make, but I'm very, very proud to make them. Michael, I just want to say a massive thank you. Renewing your Twitch membership for a 28th month. You are the record setter, and I suspect you always will be. Welcome to the show, mate. Horsey says, Seth versus Finn, I'm down for. Slow breakup with JD, I ain't. And Thomas says, hi Tom, hope all is good with you. Razar says, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Logan will challenge Seth for the title at SummerSlam. Eric says, who would you like to retire Edge? AJ Styles and Randy Orton if he's healthy enough to come back. If to retire those people, I'd say someone new and up and coming like a Bron Breakker, for example. I think Carmelo Hayes versus AJ Styles could be glorious. Zane says, I was happy to see Aubrey Edwards have a match on Rampage. Hogan says, do you think Gunter should actually drop the IC title before winning a World Heavyweight Championship, or should he pull a Keith Lee by winning the main title and dropping a mid-card title? Either one is a good option, but I feel if he loses the championship, it will be due to the briefcase rather than actually losing it. Also says, Twitter has to clean up to become one of the big four. It's a cesspool on there. If I didn't need it for my channel, I wouldn't bother. It's keyboard warriors. Yes, it is. David, no update. Hogan says, relinquishing, not dropping. Yes, I get what you're saying. Danielle says, so annoyed Pretty Deadly won last Friday. Why? A new team is getting a huge opportunity. Horsey says, more likes, the more interaction for the channel, for the algorithm, which is very true. If you are able to, please remember to hit like on the YouTube video. It does make a massive difference to the growth of the channel. Sean says, I see Johnny Gargano accepting the open challenge since they are in his hometown. And yeah, that would mean a big loss for him. Moxie says, I think WWE could do Ray versus Dominic 2 at SummerSlam. Cool, that would be an option. Wiggly says, random question, do we like cats? Moxie says, please, Logan versus Montez Ford. Ooh. Spider-Ball says, I think Trish could get the last spot in the Women's Money in the Bank. I suspect, though, that means the two of them, her and Zoe Stark, can beat up Becky. Hector says, what are your thoughts on how they're using Bron Breakker by not calling him up but having him go against main roster talent, being a storyline with a main roster star? That's where I opened, essentially, because at the moment they're using Bron Breakker, particularly in feud with Seth Rollins, to try and get more money for an upcoming NXT TV deal. Moxie really enjoyed WrestleMania 39. Samoan Spike, probably Jay. No, Wiggly, I won't receive a Father's Day card. There's no reason for me to ever do so. Spider-Boss says, without Liv Morgan and Becky busy with Trish, who do you see as Rhea's opponent for SummerSlam? I suspect it'll be a repeat or someone a bit further down the card. Raquel Rodriguez would be someone that I think is likely. Michael says, Collision was fan-freaking-tastic. Love the stage, commentary and production. I will be talking a little bit on CM Punk in moments to come. Peter says, Dave Meltzer says WWE created the new World Heavyweight Championship for Cody Rhodes. Tom Colohue has also mentioned that the new World Heavyweight Championship was made for Cody Rhodes. I'm not going to sit here and say who said what first, but I'm just going to point out that I did report that, because it's fun. Nearly caught up. Horsey says, Cross has become the Brooklyn Brawler of 2023, sadly. Such a waste of talent. Adam says, what are the chances of Braun Strowman winning a title? Right now, nothing, because he isn't fit and healthy. But long term, I can see him winning a tag team championship. Airwolf, Brad Shepard is someone I'm not really familiar with anymore. He seemed to have vanished, at least for a while, retired. I've seen comparisons made on Reddit. They are completely false. And there is actually a thread saying, I'm the new Brad Shepard. And then posting two things and saying, he reported these, both of which are wrong. Both of which have been proven correct. I believe the Reddit thread says, he reported AJ Styles had moved to SmackDown after WrestleMania. That's a lie. AJ Styles moved to SmackDown after that WrestleMania. Also, there was the ever-loving moment of, he got fired from PWTorch. I literally still work for PWTorch and release a new podcast there every week. Wrestler fan says, will Trish Stratus be sticking around after SummerSlam? She'll be more involved, but she won't be full-time. Razar says, is Becky versus Trish happening at SummerSlam? Seems like that's where they're going. Yes, it does. Moxley says, Tom, I have a bold prediction. I think Dominic is going to beat Cody at Money in the Bank. Could be fun. Spider-Boss really enjoying the Bloodline storyline. Moxley thinks Brock is going to cost Cody the match. I think all of us are kind of expecting that one. LFU cases Border Disease rinse and repeat Charlotte Flair returns. Where does this return going? Will she stick around for long? This return will be for Bianca Belair's benefit and will result in a feud there. Jaden says, hey Tom. Hello Jaden. Zane says, I was happy to see Baron Corbin win a match in NXT. It won't be the last. They are looking for a new direction for his character. NXT gives him an opportunity to try and come up with his own. Khalid says, any news tonight? I've already covered Breakker versus Rollins, Logan Paul, Roman in his multiple championships, the Open Challenge as well. And I've spoken about a video that's upcoming, a big one, on my YouTube channel, which is as regards comparing the booking styles of Triple H and Vince McMahon. Dominic, I've never been to Texas. The only place in America I've been to is Florida. Thomas says, hi Tom, any more updates on your potential? My potential is good. Sean says, I don't think the tag match should be on Money in the Bank. Should have saved it for SummerSlam. SummerSlam, I suspect, will be Jay versus Roman. Raymond says, where do you see Bayley versus Shotzi on SmackDown going? Is it just a vehicle to the breakup of Damage Control? Yeah, and also an opportunity for Shotzi to be involved in a wrestling match. Hogan says, I'm hoping we get Rhea and Beth one-on-one. While we're here, has there been any legitimate noise on a potential Beth Phoenix return? Yes, there is interest in a return for Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix and Rhea Ripley themselves are both pushing for a one-on-one match between the two of them. The WWE don't necessarily believe a one-on-one match featuring Beth Phoenix will be a big draw, and it will be the pace required. Will says, with WWE having more main roster people on NXT, is that to give people something to do? No. And to not have budget cuts? Nope. It feels like Nick Khan is not high on cutting people. He isn't. I've explained this a few times now. The reason that we're seeing main roster stars on NXT is to try and boost the numbers of viewership in advance of the upcoming TV deal. They're trying to sell NXT to essentially a new TV station to try and get more viewership there and to try and get more money into the coffers so they won't need budget cuts. Yes, Jaden, there will be spoiler warning here and there will be spoiler warning on Friday. Spider-Boss says, do you see Asuka returning against Charlotte? Yep. Muggsy says, I'm kind of upset. It's going to be another month with Roman not defending the titles. Spider-Boss says, I actually enjoy Trish on Raw. Her rivalry with Becky has been more interesting than Rhea's title reign. Dominic says, is Roman's new title going to replace the Universal and WWE titles? Yes. Thomas says, hi Tom, any news on you doing a live stream for Forbidden Door? I don't do I don't do AEW watch parties. Wiggly, I would wait for more news on that one. Wrestler fan says, will Gunter wrestle Matt Riddle for the Intercontinental Championship at Money in the Bank 2023? That seems very likely, yes. Spider-Boss says, SRS coming with news about Drew McIntyre when we saw Drew news first on spoiler warning. Yep. Hogan says, people asking about Corbin's push or Corbin's next opponent. I'm going to ask the question we all want the answer to. What do you think of his shorts? It's a look. Kervin says, WWE don't have Tegan or Emma face Raquel to be the final member Money in the Bank over Trish Stratus. Sean says, does Bayley lose her spot in the Money in the Bank match? No. Moxley says, Tom DC Solo turning on Roman after Money in the Bank match. Yes, because after the Money in the Bank match is the rest of time. Taylor, welcome. Says, Tom, I love your news and breakdowns. Great work as usual. Thank you very much, Taylor. Welcome to the show. Eric says, to retire Edge, I say Mello, Hayes, Orton, Cody, because that's how Cody started the career in WWE. To retire AJ, I think of three people, Gallows or Anderson. For a young guy, maybe Dominic. Dominic definitely of those three. Sean says, I don't understand why Dana is appearing on NXT when she isn't a free agent. She was drafted to Raw. Yeah, and they regret that decision. Richard says, if Asuka does return against Charlotte, would this be the first time she defeated Charlotte? Yes. Spider-Boss said, well, she technically did beat Charlotte while Raw Women's Champion, but Nia Jax had already done some serious damage. Alyssa says, what are Cody Rhodes' plans after SummerSlam? Different feuds. Hogan says, it definitely is a look. Adam says, do you think Karrion Kross is in line for a big push? No. I think I've been pretty clear on Karrion Kross's position. He loses matches. That's what he does. Spider-Boss says, I see Cody beating Dominic Mysterio. Yes. Kelvin says, Asuka better retain because Charlotte has no business to beat Asuka again. Aaron McGowan says, any news on Bray? I believe we have the most recent update as regards Bray Wyatt. They are currently writing new storylines for him. There is a team of writers working with him. They had already separated Alexa Bliss from the storyline before the announcement of her pregnancy. Bo Dallas is still employed by the company, and Uncle Howdy may be making a return, but there are disagreements as to the use of Bray Wyatt between Bray Wyatt and his element of creative control and the actual creative team working with him. CM Punk does have an element of creative control in AEW and was directly involved in at least his own booking for AEW Collision. He wanted to work with FTR and he wanted to work with Jay White and Samoa Joe, and this is his wish granted. CM Punk has an element of control over his future storylines and suggested Jay White, which is where we're heading. Also Samoa Joe, as I've already mentioned, is likely to be involved as well. But CM Punk has also made several suggestions involving the Elite. Hence the rumour that he'll be popping up on Dynamite. CM Punk was involved, as I say, in some of the booking and has some element of creative control over his own character. Sean says, chances Isla and Albert unify the tag team titles? 0. We have a couple more things to mention. Firstly, I want to mention just a quick update on Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is already making appearances for the WWE again. He will be returning to action once he is off the injured list, and he will be returning to wrestling at that point. If he is not showing as willing to sign a new deal, he will be picking up high-profile losses on his way out the door. If he has signed a new deal, it will likely mean World Championship opportunities for Drew McIntyre, but he's looking for a victory, not just a match. Hello Wiggly, how you doing, mate? Noob says, AEW Collision is a great debut on Saturday, even the Elton John song has a catchy beat. Aaron McGowan says, thanks buddy. No worries, Aaron McGowan. There is a lot more information on Bray on this channel that you might enjoy, including a deep dive of everything backstage that went wrong for the Fiend character. So if you go into the videos tab, I think you may quite enjoy that. Just go and catch up. Taylor says, Punk versus MJF in the future. Just wondering, since he brought up the fact he was never beaten for the belt. Yes, either a new championship or a unification. Wrestler Fan says, will CM Punk wrestle at Forbidden Door 2023? There is talk on rumours, as you know, about a match with Kenta. Ken Thompson says, WWE reportedly interested in signing AEW Hook. The Saying says, I like the storytelling that WWE is doing with Bianca Belair. There is a definite evolution of her character happening right now, and personally I think it's long overdue. We have seen the exact same character the entire time since originally debuting on the main roster, and really I do feel we need a little bit more. Razar says, wrestlers having creative control is a bad business decision. Isn't that what led to Ace's downfall? Define Ace for me. Mustafa says, just here to press like and comment, then back to work. Thank you, Mustafa. Welcome to the show. LS says, any news on any returns for SummerSlam? Anything on Liv Morgan? SummerSlam, Logan Paul, we know is going to be there. There is discussion about John Cena. As I mentioned, there will be more names coming as we get closer. As regards Liv Morgan, she is not cleared yet. Hogan says, say what you will about Punk, but if he's been picking his feuds, he seems to have pretty good taste in pro wrestling. He knows who will make him look good. Alyssa says, why feel Cody lost momentum at WrestleMania 39? What are doing Cody Rhodes? What are doing him feud? Dumb, so Cody deserves momentum back. Winning over Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam will be a good start for that. Sean says, I believe Kenta tweeted, he versus CM Punk will never happen without money. Without money. BM says, John Cena is in Liverpool at the moment, apparently. Will says, do you know how Kenny and the Bucks feel about working with Punk? They're not happy about it. They don't want to do it. Spiderbell says, Shayna Baszler said Dakota Kai is doing well in her recovery process. She would know. She would definitely know. And KJ says, based off rumours and what you're saying, it seems SummerSlam will have a big card opposed to Triple H's smaller cards, maybe like 8+ matches, and that does seem to be where we are headed. The WWE is giving up on a relatively big name in the form of Gable Steveson. The WWE seem to be giving up on Gable Steveson. They've been pitching him creative ideas for years at this point, and he simply seems uninterested in being involved in anything that they are putting forwards. He has popped up every now and then upon agreeing to do something, but only when it really suits him, it seems. Gable Steveson seems more interested in continuing to compete in amateur wrestling, and the WWE, let's just say they haven't been paying him for a very long time. Moxie says, Tom, do you see Finn winning a world title again in the WWE? I do not. And that is all of our news. Wrapped up in 30 minutes in the end. Yeah, I might get an early night tonight. We will see you again on Friday, but there will also be videos along the way highlighting most of the news that I've already covered. I will, of course, still be covering a lot of what's coming for Money in the Bank, for SummerSlam, etc. But for now, the news that I've shared here, I will be breaking down into videos going forwards to try and continue the growth of the channel. And of course, there will be shorts. In the meantime, as per usual, I will say thank you very much for watching. I've been Tom Colohue. You have been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.